Hello, everyone, and hello, beautiful Agnieszka. Today, we want to talk about trust and we want to talk about the three brains. So stay on for a really diverse,
A good
little,
combo.
a good combo, right? My dear, I want to ask you what trust has to do with safe and sacred spaces and how you yourself um, feel trust in
Mhm.
spaces and how you also build trust in spaces.
Oh, this is such a good and broad question. And it's just in point because I feel like it's so relatable to my latest process as well of life and building up the trust. That brought so many realizations in terms of like trust. And to me, trust can have like a different shapes and different forms because we very often say about safe set and setting, safe space where you can explore yourself and different pieces of you and where you can heal, right? So this is like a one element of like finding that right environment where you can be vulnerable, where you can be you and you can really witness sometimes a deep shadow of you and a pain as well, right? And the other part to me is about having this trust that I'm ready to face those shadows, that I'm ready to face those different parts of myself, but also that there is a readiness and opportunity to heal. And I realized that there is also another aspect of the trust, because to me today is also about having a trust that I can be me, also in front of the people that they are like my significant others or people that I love. And intellectually, I know that I can trust and I'm safe. But at the same time, it's also like some sort of like a gym of building that muscle. And I can see that many times, even though whenever I was in the circles, the healing circles, retreats, workshops where I had that safe space, I didn't have a trust that I can be myself. So I don't know if you had that experience, but many times in the past, I will be still in the role. I will be still in the mask, and I will still try to be someone in terms of like, I don't know, even wardrobe selection or my expression or the words that I need to say. Like, in those sharing circles, whenever people are expressing and sharing, I will be sitting and I will be thinking like, oh, what should I say to be smart or just like be like everyone else? So I feel like this third piece of trust, it's something that is very relevant to me in my life today, that I'm like growing up and like building that muscle that I can be really vulnerable in front of another person, in front of another human being, and I can be really me without pretending, without putting any mask, without trying to be someone else, without creating any kind of character of or persona that wants to belong, that wants to be received, that wants to be accepted. And I realized lately that even though I've been on my path for a number of years, I can see that I am still sometimes catching myself in a moment that I don't fully trust. Even if I know, even if, when I know that I'm safe. And today I have a beautiful people around me, beautiful community, and this is a norm for me. I can still feel that I have and I hold some of those like hurt parts that they are still need a little bit of time to fully trust and fully be me. So I realized that the trust element has like a different forms. And to me, whenever I'm thinking about retreats, for example, it has the color of like trusting the place, trusting myself, that I can show up and I can surrender to the process of healing. I can show up and surrender to the process of self-exploration and self-discovery, and to witness whatever it's there, no matter what that is. It can be blissful, it can be joyful, but sometimes it can be a challenging moment. But at the same time, it's about having that trust that I can be me. And I don't need to, play any roles. I can kind of like undress and be naked. So whenever I'm thinking about the element of the trust today, that's what shows up in within me today. Whenever in the older days, it was more kind of like limited, but today I can see that it's like growing, and it's like also a process of building the muscle of that trust in a different um, forms of like exercises. It's like you are doing the workout. Sometimes you would do Pilates, sometimes you would do the weight, sometimes you will do the yoga. So I feel like to me, it's about building the trust in all those like three areas in my life.
Mm. Mm. Thank you so much for sharing. And yes, of course, I have also experienced it, that I am myself a participant. I was myself a participant,
Mhm.
and especially in my first retreats that I went for my own personal healing. And I sat in the circle and I was like, oh my God, they all know what to say so well. And I don't know what to say. And I even felt very nervous
Mhm.
about being myself, because I felt I was not at the level of these other people, and not as good as them, or as if I couldn't say really well what I wanted to say. So, yeah, totally have been there. And it feels very weird, because you go there for healing and then you can't really express yourself like you
Mhm.
want to. So yeah, building a muscle of trust, I think, and the repetitive practice there is also really important, like repetitive practices with breathwork or meditation and
Yeah,
everything else that our psyche and our bodies need to learn or remember, our connection to ourselves, and through that to the bigger world and to others.
absolutely. And I would just add one more piece to that, because also is somehow linked to me to the humanity. Because as much we are like a perfect, I find, technology, as a human beings, we have those amazing bodies, but at the same time, we are all humans, right? We all have our flaws, we all have our wounds, and I can see in my life today that the more vulnerable I am, and the more I give myself a permission to be not perfect, the more I can relate to another human being and see that this is just like us, perfect beings in our imperfections in a way. And to me, it's also like part of the process of building the trust that I can be naked. I can be with, with moments whenever I need to say, listen, I'm afraid, but I want to trust. Listen, I am not in the best form, but I want to be there, as much as I can. So giving myself also a permission to just be where I am and meet myself where I am. It gives me also a possibility to meet another person in all those like different moments of life and receive myself fully, but also receive another human being fully without having expectations that I need to be someone or the other person needs to be someone. And that's a freedom to me. Talking about the freedom tribe, right? And creating more freedom in life. That's a freedom to me as well. Part of it, for sure.
Mm. While you were talking, something came in. I had this vision of an of pianoforte. How you say? Piano. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but a piano that to the left and to the right goes out into infinity.
Mm-hmm.
All of us are a key on the piano.
Mm-hmm.
And there is not one key on the piano that is more important or less important than the other key to be this perfect sound of the universe, of the orchestra of the universe.
Mm-hmm.
And um, what I'm experiencing very strongly right now, if I may share in life, is that yes, Sandra is here as Sandra, but my soul is part of the infinite, of the and this Sandra that is here and plays one of the keys of this piano, of this infinite piano, is here now, but my soul was ever here and will ever be here. So it's not, we are never better or worse than anyone else. Whatever this person might play out in this lifetime as a role in this amazing theater of life. And what I also like, and what my teacher told me the other day and reminded me of, is that we hear so much talk about different higher frequency beings and lower frequency beings, for example. And I was like, yeah, I get it, but I never liked this really, because something felt not right about higher and lower, you know, vibrations. And uh, yeah, this person is like in a higher timeline or in a lower timeline. And what I found out that it's all about expansion and
Mm-hmm.
not about higher and lower. It's everything is as above, so below. If we go to the Hermetic principles, for example, and it's all about expansion and not getting to a higher plane or being better or saying the right thing or saying the wrong thing, for example. And then I can be really myself because I don't worry about this little Sandra with this little brain any longer if she says the right thing or the wrong thing, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know where I'm getting at
Yes.
or
And
where I want to go
I
with it.
absolutely hear
Yeah.
you. I agree, that there's like this like ego illusion in a way that wants to create something and like position itself in a higher place in a way. But this is all irrelevant whenever like we are talking about, you know, something that is like beyond this physical form, beyond our mind, right? That in a way can be so limited.
Yeah. And then we can sit naked together with
Mm.
others in a circle and not be afraid anymore of how we feel in the moment, for
Mm-hmm.
example.
Yeah.
And but I personally needed a long time to get there and to understand that. And as you
Yes.
said, to build up the trust and to build up the muscle of the trust.
Yeah. It's a process for sure to me as well. And I can see, even in my daily life, that sometimes I have this illusion that I already worked out certain pieces. And life always provides, the circumstances to show us where we are still not free in a way, right? Always delivers.
Yeah, always delivers. Yeah. Yeah, but do you also feel it? I feel it like a spiral and not like
Hmm.
linear way
Yeah.
of healing, because sometimes we think, okay, we have healed this and now we go to the next thing. It doesn't work like that. Life
Mm-mm.
is always the spiral and brings back things and makes us see um, old stuff, old wounds, but from a different perspective, because we heal in spirals. We don't heal in a linear way.
Yeah.
Like the DNA is a spiral and all the important stuff, the galaxy is a spiral, all the important stuff are spirals. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just want to add one more thing to the trust, because this is a revolution in my life to have a healthy relationships in my life today. And I can see that those relationships, they heal me the most, where I can really practice who I am, where I can really practice setting up the boundaries, but also expressing my needs out loud and expressing myself. And even if like I feel on the logical level that I'm safe, sometimes it's still a challenge to just like show up fully in my nakedness, in my humanness. And I find that those places Like retreats, for example, those are also like, a destinations where we can practice those muscles, where we can try, even if we are like afraid to show up, and whenever we struggle to be vulnerable, we can like try a little bit, because it's like it's a safe space where you can just be you. And of course, it's up to the person how deep you can take it, that trust, because it's such an individual experience. But I find that those healthy relationships, that's the one part, but the other one is also like those healthy settings where there is like, permission to whatever it's there. There's like a full permission to be you, who you are truly, without any expectations that you have to be in the role, that you have to be someone, or appear in a certain way, express in a certain way, but you're just received as you are and where you are.
Yeah, like one key of the piano, one
Yes.
perfectly aligned key of this divine piano.
Mm, yeah.
And also, and I want to touch quickly upon to bringing all the three brains also
Mm-hmm.
into these spaces, and into then out into our lives as well, because um, when we talk about brain, we always think about the head brain very often.
Mm-hmm.
But actually, we have at least three brains or three main brains, which is the brain mind or the brain, then so the mind brain, then the heart brain and the gut brain.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, to recognize first of all that we don't think our way through lives, but we also feel our way through life. And we know our way through life, because the gut brain, especially for us women, the gut brain is totally connected to the earth. It has the same microbiome as the earth. It has the same sound as the earth. And especially we as women are connected a lot with the earth through our blood, our moon, our cycles. And it's time now that we reconnect from our brain up here down through the heart into the gut again, into this deep, deep knowing. And that is really a passion of mine at the moment, to feel these three brains and also to teach about the three brains that we have and what they are exactly. And how important it is to feel the gut brain again. Because also Heart Math Institute, for example, talks a lot about the brain in the head and the heart, uh, the coherence between those two and how important that is, for example.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But for me, uh, in a female body in this lifetime, the gut brain is the one that guides me through life. It's my intuition and
Mm-hmm.
my knowing, my connection to the earth, my connection to this universe. And
Mm-hmm.
then when this is settled and this is opened up, and some things about our intuition, they don't make sense to our brain. So the meaning making is not there any longer. And this is what we can explore again, right? And
Mm-hmm.
the Western culture, we are so wired onto meaning making all the time. Everything needs to be, there needs to be an outcome, or it needs to make sense. No, it doesn't. Life is so much bigger than that, because our little brains, or my little brain of this incarnation that is called Sandra in this lifetime, doesn't get a lot of things with the brain. She doesn't know a lot of things. But my soul and my connection to my womb space knows. So I just wanted to open that conversation up a little bit. And I know it's just an opening, but we go into a deeper discussion maybe next time, and also on our upcoming retreat, that we have to feel into these three different brains and to expand into what we really are, much something much bigger than we think we are,
Yeah.
as Sandra or Agnieszka or everyone else that is listening. And we are so much more because we have so much more bodies and brains than we think we have.
Yeah. And can I just add and ask you about one thing? Would you
Yeah.
say, because I'm curious, how is it for you? Because this is so well said, that this is also like the way to build up the trust for yourself. And I recalled so many moments and big decisions in my life as well, whenever they didn't like, they were not logical. And my mind would create all kinds of like narratives, reasons, and arguments. No, don't do it. This doesn't make any sense. But I could feel it, just feel it fully with my body that I need to be somewhere or I need to make that decision. I really need to end this relationship. I really need to end this chapter of life and do something different. And I feel like this is so like relatable what you shared, that very often it doesn't make any sense. It's not logical. And this is why I feel, to me, it's also about building up that muscle with not leaving myself behind just because my mind tells me something, but really like tapping into this wisdom of my body, wisdom of my gut, my heart, and making decisions from that place.
So well said. I love it. And what I also wanted to touch upon is that sometimes when we make decisions or we step out of relationships or we know something, but it doesn't make sense with the brain and the heart hurts as well,
Mm-hmm.
we can get confused because we get different messages from our body.
Mm-hmm.
We get the message of this deep inner knowing, but we, with the brain, can't make sense out of it. And the heart remembers hurt, for example. So the heart, in my tradition, in my spiritual tradition, where I learn, the heart is also the seat of memories of our what we have or our traumas, our
Mm-hmm.
hurt, and our feelings, our emotions, right? And they can be very multi-layered. So when we go only with the brain or much better, also with the heart, something is missing. And that's the deep knowing of our gut.
Yeah.
So to combine these three is one of the greatest arts form of life. It's an art form to
Yeah.
combine intelligences.
And I sensed that we also have a theme for maybe our next conversation or retreat as well, because this is also the art of like getting into that knowledge and listening to the body, because it doesn't, we have this connection, natural connection since we are born, right? But then with the time and conditioning and our and the lifetimes experiences, we are muting, we are like kind of like putting on mute our body, our heart, our gut. So it's also the art and the process of like reconnecting with that knowledge, reconnecting with that wisdom. And we can do it through the breath and sound, movement, earth medicines, and many more, right? We have many allies that can support us on that way, on that path.
Yeah, totally. Okay, my dear. So I feel that for now, we have touched upon so many important things and we will explore more.
Yeah, I feel like we could like stay here for the next couple of hours
Yeah.
to talk about all those pieces.
But I want to give you virtually one of these
Oh,
wonderful roses for you. Look how beautiful they are. And I send you much, much love. And thank you everyone for listening.
thank you.
And we see each other soon.
Yeah,
Lots of
take
love.
care.